Welcome to Know Your Buyers. Now, there's a huge difference between knowing about someone and knowing them personally. In this video, I'm going to show you how to know your prospects so well that they will think you're reading their mind. Now, this is important because to motivate someone, they need to trust you and believe you. So here's what we're going to cover. The one critical thing you must understand about your buyers in building a solid marketing plan. We're also going to talk about the 4 questions that you must answer to achieve your goals. And then finally, we're going to go over the 5 things you need to know about your customer that's going to make them feel like you're reading their mind. So let's get started. So there are 4 critical things you need to know to understand how to motivate your buyers. And they're really quite simple. The first question you need to ask when you're building your marketing plan is, who are you going after? Now, in a complex sale, you may have more than one person involved in the decision process, but for now, let's focus on the person that would be the best entry point to getting a sale. Now, I'm a big believer in top-down selling, but it might not always be the C-level executive you want to go after. Think more along the lines of who would be the person researching solutions for what you have to offer, and that would be a great starting point. So when I joined Lure Studios, we asked the who question. We asked ourselves a slightly deeper question because we're in a service business that could go in any number of directions. And so as Corey and I were discussing who we wanted to sell to, the question began to morph. And we started to ask ourselves, like, who do we want to hang out with? And who do we like? And who do you want to serve? Once we answered that question, we designed everything we do around them. So in our case, the who was entrepreneurs and business owners. Since we are entrepreneurs ourselves, we figured it would be way more fun to grow our business with like-minded, risk-taking trailblazers who had a dream and wanted to make a difference. So that's our who. Who do you want to serve? Now, if you were going to go to the trouble of building a goldmine network on LinkedIn, you may as well fill it with the people you enjoy being around and helping. So now that you know who you want to serve, the next question is, where are those people congregating? So if we were fishing for catfish, they hang out in lakes and ponds. But if we were fishing for tuna, they hang out in the ocean. So where does your customer hang out? What are the websites and groups and lists that these people are on? We want to be where they're hanging out so we're not wasting our time. The third is the bait. What's the bait that's going to get your dream customers to come to you? Now, this isn't as obvious as you might think. Why do fish go after bait? Because it's attractive? Because it's in front of them? Those are important things, but that's not why they go after the bait. There's one reason above all others that make the fish go after the bait. Have you figured it out? Because they're hungry. They need food. Their stomachs are screaming at them. They need food to survive. I never thought about bait that way before. Interestingly, do you know why bait is shiny and colorful? Because people buy bait. The real customer for bait is not the fish, it's the fisherman. Great fishing lure companies know they're fishing for people and not fish. So when we think about bait, you need to think about what are the motivating drives that someone has that demands their attention. It's instinctual. I have to have it. Great bait gives the customers exactly what they're looking for right now. So what do you have that will get them so excited that they come and give you money? Is it a free book, a trial offer, some kind of cool content, a webinar, maybe a teleseminar? The better your bait, the better person you're going to attract. So we're going to spend a lot of time later talking about great baits that you can put in front of your buyers that gets them to bite. And then finally, step 4. Now that you have your dream customer's attention, where do you want to take them? I call this the result. How can you serve them at their highest level? What results do they want from you and your company? Figure out the results you want to give them and work your butt off to serve them the best you can. So once you've got these 4 pieces in place, you're going to have established a strong foundation for your marketing plan. So when we think about who you're going after, we think typically about the demographic, like what's our territory? What geography are we selling into? What's our industry? What's their position? What's their title? How long have they been with the company? What's their seniority level? These are the demographic kind of details. But what we want to do is we need to know that, but we want to know more than that. We want to dive into what's really driving them. And so for that, we need to kind of get into the psychographic. So what are their individually? What are their goals and their values? What are the pain points? What are the objections they have? And where are they looking for information? So in order to do all that and put it in one convenient place that we can really get our arms around that, we're going to build a buyer persona. So going through an exercise of building a buyer persona, and some people call these customer avatars or customer personas, there's really not a formal definition. Some people use the terms interchangeably. I'd like to point out one distinct difference, and it's kind of subtle. A customer avatar or customer persona is typically a look back at who your customers currently are. The buyer persona is a look forward at who do you want to go after in the future. So for most people, they're one and the same, but for some of you, they'll be different. For example, you may just be starting out and you have no customer data, or maybe you're opening a new line of business and who you're going after is completely different than who you were going after before. So in those cases, you're going to need to make a best guess based on your own research and judgments. So for those with a lot of data, you can mine that and zero in on your best customers to build a buyer persona for your ideal customer. Either way, the end result of having a buyer persona or customer avatar is virtually the same. Creating a buyer persona is going to impact virtually every aspect of your marketing and sales efforts. So it's not just for what we're going to be doing on LinkedIn. You're going to find them super useful in everything we do. A buyer persona is also going to impact your content marketing. What blog posts, videos, podcasts, lead magnets should you be creating to attract and convert your buyer? It's also going to help your paid traffic. Which ad platform should you be buying traffic from? What targeting options should you be using? And it's going to help your product creation. What new solutions should you be offering? And what is your buyer searching for? It'll help with your copywriting. How should you describe offers in your email marketing, your ads, your sales letters, in a way that compels your buyer to buy? And your email marketing. So which buyer persona should receive a specific email marketing campaign? And that's just scratching the surface. So any part of the marketing and sales process that touches the customer, which is pretty much everything, is going to improve when you get clarity on your buyer persona. After all, it's a person who buys our products and services, and it pays to get clear on the characteristics of that person so you can find and present them with a message that moves them to action. So there are 5 major components to the buyer persona. In some cases, you're going to need to survey or have conversations with existing customers to accurately flesh out your buyer persona. In other cases, you're just going to be intimately familiar with the characteristics of your ideal customer. In either case, let's move forward. Don't wait for surveys and interviews to be conducted to create your first draft of an avatar. Make assumptions where you have no data or feedback and put it on your short list of to-dos to complete your research. So in the meantime, you're going to begin getting benefit from a buyer persona built from the assumptions you've made. So let's take a look at each section of the buyer persona worksheet. First is the goals and values. Now we begin with the goals and values of your ideal customer, and I want you to make note of the goals and values that are relevant to the products and services you offer, not just general goals and values, that they want to live a better life and all that stuff. Very specific and relevant to your products and services. You're also going to use this information to drive product creation, copywriting, content marketing, email marketing, and of course your LinkedIn messaging. So the next section is sources of information. This section of the buyer persona worksheet is critical to determining the where of your buyers. So you're going to determine the best places to advertise and targeting options you're going to use to reach your buyer persona by listing where they get their sources of information. So when filling this part out, I would use the "but no one else would" trick. You're simply going to complete sentences like this. My ideal customer would read this book, but no one else would. My ideal customer would subscribe to this magazine, but no one else would. My ideal customer would attend this conference, but no one else would. You getting the picture? The idea is to find the niche books, magazines, blogs, conferences, gurus that your ideal customer would be attracted to, but no one else would. So for example, if you were in the golf products market and you want to assign Tiger Woods as your guru, Tiger's someone that golfers are familiar with, but so is everybody else. Instead, I'd go for more of a niche golfer like Rory McIlroy. And that's going to allow you to hone in on your ideal customer and exclude everyone else. So the next section is demographics. So applying demographic information is going to bring your persona to life. You want to name them. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Are they married? So all the usual demographics and filling them out, but pay particular attention to filling out the quote field. This can be super helpful when trying to get inside the head of your ideal customer. Like, what quote is it that drives them? Are they a leader? Would it be a leadership quote? That kind of stuff. The demographics are another useful part when choosing targeting options and ad platforms like on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And also when you're writing content, an email and sales copy, it can be beneficial to simply write as though your buyer was sitting right across the table from you. So demographic information like age, gender, and location are going to give your buyer persona a look and a feel. The next section is challenges and pain points. This section is going to drive new product and service development, as well as the copywriting and ad creative you're going to use to compel your ideal customer to action. And when I'm talking about ad copy, don't think that we're always writing ads. When I say ad copy, we're going to be direct messaging, and we're going to use the intelligence of an ad writer to actually direct message our customers. And then the final part here is objections and role in the purchase process. Now, the best way to approach objections is by asking the question, why wouldn't someone choose to buy from us? Now, you want to answer this question in the eyes of your target customer. When you do that, you're going to uncover objections to the sale, and they've got to be addressed in your marketing. And don't overlook the simple ones, right? The stuff that you know, hey, we always get our customers this way. We're way better than these other guys, whatever it is. You got to dig into that so that that's part of your marketing message. So don't miss the obvious things. And kind of the last thing I want to say here is you should build multiple personas, but start by building a single persona. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be churning out multiple personas representing the different segments of your market. But don't go overboard. Any lucrative market segment with a distinct set of goals, sources of information, and pain points is deserving of a buyer persona. So here's what we've covered. Knowing what motivates your customer is the one critical thing you must understand to build a solid marketing plan. And to achieve your goals, you're going to need to know who you're going after, where they hang out, what bait is going to get them to bite, what result do they want, and then by creating an accurate buyer persona, it's going to make your customer feel like you're reading their mind and speaking directly to them. So it's time to do the work. Use the buyer persona worksheet in your workbook to get a clear understanding of your ideal customer. This is a super important exercise, so do it now. And if you decide not to do it now, you're going to end up wishing you did it later anyway. So stop here and fill out your buyer persona. I'll see you in the next video.